public access production. Comcast is required to provide time on this channel and make it available pursuant to franchise agreements with the communities we serve. Comcast is not affiliated with the following program or the producers of public access programming and is not responsible for the content. The following program does not reflect the opinions of Comcast or its affiliates.
Welcome to another edition of Discover Tinley. My name is Ron Centani. I'll be your host tonight. And as always, the program is to highlight the great things that are going on in Tinley Park and highlight the organizations and people that make Tinley Park a great town in which to live. And as we all know, Tinley Park is a great place in which to live. A lot of things going on here, a lot of things happening. It's hard to believe that we're starting another new year. Hopefully you had a decent 2014 and enjoyed a good holiday Christmas season. Looking forward to a good year. Hopefully a lot of good things come to all of you and all of us. A lot of things happening in town. And tonight is a very special occasion where we, every year we give a little update on what's going on in the town. And we're fortunate enough we always have Mayor Ed Zabrocki here to give us kind of a state of the village. Welcome to Discover Tinley, Mayor Ed.
Thank you very much, Ron. Enjoy being here with you.
Yeah, the state of the village. We're doing okay, I hope, right?
We're doing very, very well, Ron. Yeah, we usually start out this program with a little bit about the structure of the village and how it works. Basically, we have a mayor, a village manager, a clerk, and 6 trustees. And the 6 trustees are broken into 6 different categories. For example, Dave Seaman is in charge of finance, TJ Grady in charge of the building department, Patty Leone, budget and audit, Greg Hannon, planning and zoning, Brian Maher is in charge of public safety, and I think that covers all 6, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have the clerk, which is Pat Ray, for many years, and he is kind of the keeper of the record and how ties all that together. Many people sometimes wonder what a village manager does, okay? And he is a top administrative person that we have in the village, and his purpose is the operation of the village on a day-to-day basis. The trustees are there from time to time, and our goal, and my goal along with them, is to develop the policies of the village, how we're going to spend our money. These are our priorities. These are the things we need to do. And it's up to the village manager and his staff is to follow those policies and also to make recommendations, etc., and that kind of thing. Now, I know later on our agenda we'll be talking about how the budget develops, and the village manager plays a very integral role in putting the process together. It's a lengthy process that actually begins in December of a previous year and goes on through pretty much January, February, and middle of March when the final decisions are made, and the budget has to be passed in April.
I was wondering what the fiscal year is.
We go from May 1 to April 30th. Is what we do. So it's kind of a long process where it goes through committees, but when we get to that point, I'll explain more about that.
Well, maybe how's the economic development going on in town here? How are we doing financially? I always got to start with the program. What's the financial status of the village at Tinley Park?
We're in the black, and we've always been in the black, and we'll be in the black for a long time. We spend money very conservatively, Ron. Our operating budget is about $45 million a year, $46 million a year. And we control probably another $40 million with bonds, etc., these kinds of things. So it's quite an operation. We are purchasing the Tinley Park Mental Health Grounds, and I know we'll get into that in a bit. And one of the nice things is that we don't have to go to bond or budget. We can buy it internally.
Wow.
Which is $4.1 million. And that speaks well to the village as far as finances are concerned. And we follow a basic premise. If we don't have the money, we don't spend it. Very simple.
I like that premise.
Very
That's-
simple.
That's
you know?
good.
And it's been our philosophy as long as I've been around, and it works well for us.
Wow. Now, what taxes does the village kind of rely on to get most of their money from?
Basically, we get our taxes through 3 different areas, Ron. Through real estate tax, through sales tax, and through income tax. Now, income tax, we get a portion of it back from the state. The real estate tax, if you look at your tax bill, we get somewhere between 11 and 12% of your tax bill. Now, when you look at your tax bill, you need to break it down into the different categories that you have on the tax bills: schools, mosquito abatement, township, those kinds of things. The schools actually take anywhere from 68 to 72% of the tax bill, and that's the big bite.
Right.
Now, sales tax, that represents about $14 to $15 million out of our budget. And just to give you an idea, I brought some statistics with me. General merchandise, which means that you buy something from Kmart or Target, that 15% comes from those kind of sales. Food sales, Waltz, Jewel, about 6%. Restaurants, eating establishments, 9%. Apparel, 2.1%. In other words, stores that are strictly for apparel. Furniture, household, Radio Shack, that kind of thing, 3.5%. Lumber, Menards, 3%. And I'll come back to this one again. Drug and general retail, 10%. Agriculture, 15%. General manufacturing, 0.3%. Automobile sales is our largest component. 35% of that $15 million comes from the sale of automobiles here in town, and some ancillary type things, Auto Nation, or not Auto Nation, but AutoZone, those kinds of places.
Yeah.
So that's why we're very, very interested in getting car dealerships into the community, because that 35% is a big chunk for us.
I think we're very fortunate to have an auto row over there. Not too many towns can have
No,
something like
between
that.
Orland and Tinley, we have probably it falls in the top 3 or 4 in the Midwest area. And Bettenhausen Dodge now is building a whole new facility out on 159th and 84th Avenue, which will be a premier kind of thing.
Sure.
He also just picked up Alfa Romeo on Oak Park Avenue.
Oh, wow.
So Alfa Romeo will be selling here in the States again.
Wow. Now I understand it's one of the few dealerships in the nation and the area that's
I
selling
believe
that,
there's
too.
only 3 in the Chicagoland area,
Yeah,
so
we're fortunate.
they were very, very happy to get a hold of that.
Speaking of business, how is the economic development of Tinley? How's it gone this past year, and what's kind of the future outlook for economic development in town?
It's really, we're on the cusp, Ron, to be very honest with you. We've gone through the period of 08, 09, 10, and 11 where we just struggled, okay? From roughly 08 to, I'm going to say mid-2014, we had a net increase of about 225 businesses.
Wow.
Now, that's based upon businesses moving out and new businesses coming in. So we have a net income of about 220, 225, based upon our business licenses, et cetera, that kind of thing. We're on the cusp now because money is loosening up. Economy's looking better. The old Gambonis, the old Blue Fox, has recently been torn down, and we're going to have townhouses going up there. We finally got some folks interested in Chicks. That was in foreclosure for a long time along Oak Park Avenue. We have a gentleman looking at the Springfort building where the old fitness store was.
Oh, yeah.
Looking to put in a restaurant there. So we're looking to that. We have some folks interested in the old video store, which has been a nemesis for a long, long time. And there's some serious environmental issues with that, but we hope we can overcome those kinds of things. We have some interest for some large grocery stores looking at different areas. So there's beginning to be a more of an interest, more activity, those kinds of things. And I think it's going to work. We have some interest over on the Cook County side for some theaters. And part of the problem that we run into, Ron, is the differential between Cook County and Will County taxes when it comes to commercial. If you put a piece of property up in Cook County and you pay $100,000 a month, $100,000 a year in real estate taxes, a commercial piece, you move that to Will County and you'd be paying about $48,000.
Oh my.
So it's a real detriment. So that's why you have to look at that balance, and that's why you see a lot of our activity in the Will County. Panera's broke ground about a week ago for 191st and
Oh, I didn't know that.
and Harlem Avenue.
Oh wow.
So there's a lot of kind of things, and there's more in the hopper. So
Okay.
those kind of things, we see some activity on the old school site.
Oh.
And
You mean the middle
Central
Junior
Junior High,
High. Okay.
Central Junior High site.
Okay.
And we think the folks who have been looking at South Street for the past couple of years have finally got their financing together.
Oh.
And hopefully, I know this will air in January, but we're hoping sometime in February, March to make an announcement on that.
Really? Okay. So the Oak Park Avenue downtown area is kind of looking up a little bit. People have been complaining there's nothing going on. They don't see the behind the scenes thing, but it sounds like things are happening.
I think one of the problems with all the older parts of communities around is you got to work on it. You got to work at it hard. One of the things that we do and is done through the CRC Commission, a lot of those kind of things is all the activities that we have on Oak Park Avenue to bring people down to Oak Park Avenue.
Right.
And that makes a difference. And it's a struggle, and Tinley Park's not the only town who goes through that kind of a struggle with the old town.
Especially with the old, a lot of communities, the old towns, because of the shopping malls, the stuff in the main streets. Every town has an old town area that it's hard to do nowadays. So I can see that, but it's nice that Tinley is at least making an effort to do something down there.
And we use the facade program for, we've had that probably about 15 years now. We had about 15 businesses, 20 businesses take advantage of it.
Wow.
So
Let's talk about the mental health center.
Sure.
That's a big thing coming up. What's going on with that
The
now?
mental health grounds it's 280 acres of land. It's either the first or second largest piece of property left in Cook County that can be developed. Now, remember what I said about the taxes, okay? That's a detriment to that piece of property, okay? Because it's in Cook County and 150 feet south, you're in Will County. So you got to keep that in mind. It's 250 acres. It was built in the early 1950s. So therefore, you have lead paint. You have all the insulation is asbestos. All of the ceiling tile is asbestos. The tile on the floor is asbestos. It's also heated by one central power plant, which was built in 1950 before anybody thought in terms of environment. There's two dump sites that we're aware of. There's a couple of lime pits. There's a 2 or 3 500-gallon tanks buried with fluid in there. And the state has dumped some stuff in different parts of it. So basically, cut to the chase, $4.16 million. We can finance that internally. We don't have to go to bond issue, or we don't have to float a mortgage or anything like that. We can do it internally. The state estimated about $6 million in environmental cleanup. We hired a environmental firm. They estimated between 6 and 12. So we're going to use the 12 figure.
Yeah.
Okay. So the difference there is that as we sell off the property is going to be sold off piecemeal. Okay. And we may not have to do all of that environmental cleanup all at one time. We can do it section at a time, and that's to be developed as we go along. We anticipate that we will probably not take possession of the property till sometimes in June or July of 2015. Now, you got a change in administration going on. So until
the state administration, you mean?
State
right?
administration,
Okay.
yeah. With Rauner coming in,
everything
everything has kind of slipped into neutral. So we don't expect any of that stuff to pick up again till probably late January or February. We did some preliminary kind of planning on what the zoning or what zoning and what planning could go in there. It'd primarily be residential. There will be some commercial, but it will be limited simply because of the Cook County, Will County kind of thing. We're looking at some senior citizen housing for out there for you and I as we get older. We'll need that kind of thing.
Okay.
So we hope to get out there. And we also want to maintain many of the fields, soccer fields and baseball fields that are out there because they're used very extensively. And so we hope to maintain that kind of thing out there. But we look at it as a very nice piece of property, almost in the center of town. And the other thing that want to make sure that whatever is done to that property pays for out of that property, so that the rest of the citizens do not get caught on that. And we did that with many of our subdivisions as we were developing in the 70s, 80s, and up to the mid-90s, so that the taxes from that property will pay for the improvement on that property.
Wow. Well, it's not you've kind of answered what some people have mentioned. Why did the village buy this piece of property? Why don't they just let it get sold to somebody else?
Because we want to control what goes on there.
Okay.
Very simple. You know, you may have zoning, and I think many times we've read in the paper, zoning can be changed in courts.
Oh.
However, when you have the zoning and you own the property, you pretty much can dictate what goes up there. And we're very concerned that somebody was going to come in and try to literally lowball the property, and then we end up in court with zoning and all that kind of stuff. Let's avoid it.
Yeah. Wow, good. Well, sounds like it's some things. It'll probably be a while before it does get developed.
We do not expect anything from a construction standpoint to happening until late 2016, 2017.
Okay.
All the buildings got to come down.
Oh yeah.
They all
Really?
gotta-
all of them?
Yeah, there's nothing
They
there
can't
that
be
is-
used for.
There's some architectural things that people want to maintain. The architects say, well, was designed by so-and-so. But when you go in the building, you got mold, you got water, you got all that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure how viable that is.
Okay.
I'm going to say we're 99% sure those buildings will come down, Ron.
Wow. Okay. Well, sounds like things are moving along over there.
Yeah,
now,
and we look out at a build-out is probably 15 to 18 years.
Oh my.
It's not something that was going to happen overnight.
Okay.
Our grandkids will probably enjoy it.
Okay. Thank you. Let's talk about something else of the water situation in Tinley Park. I think we talked about it a little bit last year. Anything new involvement or developments in that?
We are in concert with 4 other communities: Tinley, Orland, Oak Forest, Mokina, and New Lenox, with Oak Lawn, and we are finishing up the contract now to build a second line. The original line was built in 1972. Oops. And we've been very lucky. We had some breaks in it, nothing major. So that's been positive. We started so far, I'm talking about the consortium that we're in, is that we've started the pumps in Oak Lawn, larger pumps, et cetera. Those kind of things are being built in as we speak. And the line will probably be going in next summer sometime.
Oh, okay.
And we're working out some details with ComEd and the Forest Preserve District to run it down their right-of-way to save some dollars. Wow. The line will probably not be operational until about late 2016, 2017. Whoa. But it'll give us a secondary line that we need. Right now we have a capacity of holding approximately 19 million gallons in Tinley at the present time. Okay. In the summertime, we'll use probably 16 million a day. A day like today, probably 5 million.
Wow. Well, okay. Shut my sprinklers down in the wintertime, right? Okay. I was going to say, the other thing that people talk about is the garbage collection thing that came up the year. I thought it might be a good chance for you to clarify to people
a good time to do that, Ron.
What's going on with that?
What we did basically was this. We've been with New Way Disposal, Tinley Disposal, for probably about 8 or 9 years. Their service has been excellent for us. Very, very few complaints bubble up to the village hall. So we've been very, very happy with them. So what we did, and I brought this to show to you, here's a matrix that we did of about 15 different communities. And we tried to compare them as best we can, but you got to remember each one has a little nuance to it. One community might require you to have bags for your landscaping, and you got to buy the tags and put the tags on the bag. No tag, they don't pick up the garbage. Another one, if you want to take out a refrigerator or a sofa, you got to call and pay extra for those kinds of things. So we try to take all those things into consideration and balance all of that out. And we think, and we feel very strongly, that Tinley Disposal, New Way Disposal, gave us the best bang for our buck. Now, a neighboring community might have a $1.50, $1.75, whatever it might be, cheaper rate per month. However, you have to look what is in that rate, okay? For example, in Tinley, we do not bill, okay? The garbage company, New Way, bills. They take the risk of foreclosures. They take the risk of deadbeats and all those other kind of things that can go into that. All right. The community that's $1.50 cheaper from us, the village assumes that responsibility. So in other words, they have to hire the necessary people to bill. They have to hire the computer system. And they have to handle all the complaints and those kinds of things. Yeah. Also, when we went to the new contract, everybody got a no tote, okay, which is about 80 to 90 bucks. That didn't happen in other communities. So when you start putting all this together and start balancing it out, it comes out that we feel very strongly that was very good for us. And by the way, this is a public document. Anybody wants it, they can certainly get it through the village hall, and it works out very well. But we're very happy with them, and we've been with them, and I hope we stay with them.
Yeah. So it's not, you did your due diligence and
Yeah.
then looking at
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
else. So, I would think that our village government would find the best for the.
It's in our best
village.
interest.
Yeah, exactly.
For all of us.
You live in town too, don't you?
I pay the same bills you do, Ryan.
Another thing I was wanting to bring up too is something we heard last year: roundabouts.
Ah.
We're bringing the roundabouts into. Now I travel, a little bit. I was out in Arizona this last summer, and in Sedona, which is a fairly decent-sized community with a lot of traffic with visitors. Down their main street, they had all roundabouts. And I've just been over to Europe and all that stuff there, and there's roundabouts. So for Tinley, what's it to our advantage here? They seem to work over there. I don't know.
Roundabouts have been used in Europe for probably 30 or 40 years minimum. Okay, if you go to Carmel, Indiana, which is relatively small, a little smaller than us, they have about 20 or 25 roundabouts in their town. I think what it is
maybe just describe real briefly what a roundabout is.
Basically, it is a traffic circle.
Okay.
You find them in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
DuPont Circle is a roundabout. Okay, and basically what it does, it speeds traffic up. Now, I think where the pushback is coming from is that most people are unfamiliar with them. Okay, they look and it says, how the hell is this going to work? One of the things I would suggest for folks who have concerns about roundabouts, and we have this information at the village hall, or go on the AARP website, okay, and they have a whole background information of what is a roundabout. They take the same intersection and they put points of collision on both of them, where collisions are to happen. And you'll see on a normal interchange, there's more points where collisions can take place. Now, the first 2 or 3 times you go through a roundabout, it's going to be a thrill. Okay. Okay. The first time I was in a roundabout was in Dublin, Ireland.
Oh my.
It was 3 lanes wide and took me 10 minutes to get out of it.
Okay.
But you're not going to have that here. The one we're building is 1 lane wide.
Okay.
And there's one scheduled in Orland, South Holland. They're coming on. If you drive to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to get on and off the interstates in Milwaukee, they're all on roundabouts.
Oh my.
So it's just the way of the future, and it's coming, folks, and you just got to get used to the idea, and it's not that bad. The last point on it. What about the theater? What are we going to do with a theater, 183rd and Ridgeland? We will still use a cop there on those nights. Okay. Because you're going to that is out of the ordinary.
A little heavier traffic.
Heavier traffic, and we'll have to deal with that on a one-on-one basis.
Quickly, where are they going in at?
There's only one been approved, 183rd and Ridgeland. We're looking at some other ones, but they're very small ones, and they're dependent upon federal financing, which we won't know for probably 15 to 18 months.
Wow. How's our fire and police department doing?
Doing fine. The fire prevention was certified here since last year, the first in the nation, and they just celebrated their 40th anniversary, the fire prevention group. Got a new fire engine since last year, a new aerial ladder, so we're happy with that, and things are going well. Things are going well.
Yeah, we seem to have a good rapport with the fire and police departments. They've been doing. You got a new ambulance service.
New ambulance service. Kurtz has done very well for us, and we monitor them very, very closely because we want to make sure that both companies were fine with us. Trace and Kurtz. But quite frankly, it was a difference in price. $800,000 over a 4-year period.
Oh my!
That's a lot of money. And Kurtz also went ahead and painted all the ambulance for Tinley Park as part of their operation. So we monitor them, and Pat Carr is our fellow who's in charge of that, and he submits a report to us every month on the number of calls and what was the response time, et cetera, that kind of thing. Wow. So we monitor it pretty close.
Wow. Okay. Good to hear that it's going pretty good there. Anything else going in the village here with? Speaking on the volunteer spirit of Tinley Park, I always like to bring that up a year, just re-emphasize. How much do you rely on the volunteer commissions and everything to give input to you as a village government?
Our volunteer commissions, Ron, predate me. They go back to the mid-'70s, okay? And I first started with the commission that you're on. And the commission system, and we're very proud of it, we have over 150 people involved in the commission system, and some of them are working here tonight. It saves the village quite a bit of money to do that. I mean, we staff, I'm going to pick two of the probably the most active. One is the LRPC, Long Range Planning Commission. Okay, they're staffed with, I believe, 9 volunteers. They review every project that comes into town. The village board has developed policies. They know what those policies are, and they screen all of those kinds of things. If we had to pay people to do that, we would be paying 2 or 3 staff people.
Wow.
Same thing with economic development. They review incentives as they come into town. And our basic incentive, you have to, in order for you to get money back, you have to get money. You have to make money, okay?
Yep.
You know, it's basically a kind of a system. And your folks here at the CRC, you know, the 4 or 5 folks that you have with taping our program every week, stop and think, you know, that's staff time. So the commissions save the village quite a bit of money, and we're very proud of those folks who work on our commissions. And the folks on the commissions, they represent the total strata of Tinley. Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, retired folks, whatever it may be.
Yeah, it does seem a good cross section of people are on all the different commissions, so you're hearing from a lot of different aspects.
Yeah. A Veterans Commission. We were the first commission, first city, village to have a Veterans Commission in the state of Illinois. Very active to address the needs of our veterans and patriotism and things with that.
Wow. And this, I understand this year, our sister city, Germany, in Germany is inviting us over.
Yes, we have 3 sister cities. Yeah. We have Mallow, Ireland. We have Nowossąd in Poland, and our most active one is Budigen, which is about 45 kilometers northeast of Frankfurt. We had the mayor of Budigen here probably about mid-October, and with his wife and a delegation of about 10 to 12 people. And we took them to different areas of our community, and some of them went out to Las Vegas afterwards. Some of them went to Niagara Falls. Others went to the Shenandoah Valley, I believe, in Virginia. And we'll be getting an invitation to visit them in July. I believe it's the second weekend in July, for what is called their Medieval Fest, which is really kind of interesting. And we'll be getting notice out to any residents who want to join us. You pay your own way, you pay your own hotel bills, etc., that kind of thing. But there's a lot of good, fun things going around. They have some tours set up. There's been some talk about a 2-day trip to Berlin, another trip to Heidelberg. And again, those are things that you have an opportunity to do. And you've traveled much, and you know, as Emily and I travel also, it's always much easier when you go to a foreign country and you're with some folks who live there, who take you around and show you the places to go. But I certainly hope we can get a pretty good delegation going. The CRC was involved in it, along with the sister cities back in the 90s, when we had several hundred people going back and forth.
Wow.
But the economy has changed and all of that.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like Tinley Park seems to be in good shape.
We're very happy with it, and I really believe, Ron, we're on the cusp. Over the next 2 years, you're going to see a lot of activity taking place, because there's that pent-up building urge, that pent-up movement. Property that's been vacant, some of those large chunks will be going, and also the mental health grounds. Yeah. I see some great things for that.
Well, thanks you, Mayor Ed Zabrocki, Village of Tinley Park Mayor, and thanks for the update.
Thank you, Ron.
And look for good things coming up in 2015. Thanks for watching Discover Tinley, and we'll see you next month.